There it is.
That should work.
That's better.
Say something?
Something.
People brought a lot of food, but nobody brought anything to drink.
I stopped the fridge.
Oh, did you? Dr. Pepper doesn't count.
There's not just Dr. Pepper. Promise.
Mr. Thunder.
There's Dr. Pepper, a bunch of different other sodas, waters, some Arizona iced teas, and some Fallout Sarsaparilla.
Fallout Sarsaparilla.
Fallout Sarsaparilla.
Gotta check it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sunset Sarsaparilla. I got spurs.
That's on the agenda, so. Well,
Should have gone ice cream. Yeah. Coffee ice cream.
How many?
Yeah.
You guys.
I thought it was. But I'm pulling up last month's, not this month's.
Did we set the tell that?
I thought I did, but apparently I didn't. So bear with me.
Anything excited, so you must have set it down.
Probably.
It's too early in the meeting for me to be bored.
Damn.
It's not too early in the meeting to have technical difficulties, though.
Correct. If audio is working, we're already a step ahead.
Sarsaparilla. Is that the sarsaparilla? Yeah.
All right, I'm there too. Thank you, everyone, for joining our annual 2026 FamiLAB member meeting. For those joining online, which is apparently nobody, which is the first as well. We'll see if everybody joins up in a few minutes. If you guys can, if you're on your phones, please go to l.familab.org/sign-in. We can take a head count for this. And of course, in case somebody does join later, please limit crosstalk so we don't mess up anybody who's listening. Gotta get it. I have this here, I should just say. Here, there we go.
L.familab.org.
Org/sign-in. That's weird, I can't take it. And so we're going through that. Quick financial update. Right now we're sitting at 62 full-paying memberships and 17 special cases. We did audit back this is from February, so it's going to be joined up recently. Not in there yet, but the good news is from a P&L perspective, we're in for February. These typos. Fix that, Jack, which even notes it's February's P&L, and we were positive 486. That does include $285 in donations from the electronics and the general donations caddy that we cleared out last month. But with that, that still means we're positive about $200, which is really the difference between February utilities and summer utilities, roughly. So we're basically right at break even from an operational perspective. So that's great news because most of last year we were operating just slightly under. So to start out the year already there, and there's more good stuff to come. Glad to see that. It's been a long year to get us there. General updates, front door. This is really big. I will give, again, big shout out to John, Kyle, and Taylor for their work on the front door.
That's John, the other John.
Yeah.
Not John.
The other John Douglas. Yes, it's been working out really well. It's a big deal. It saved us from having to try to buy something off the shelf. And I know it's still a work in progress as we try to clean up some of the wires and make it a little more stable, but software and materials are working very well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's very, very good. Again, some general housekeeping. 3D printers area. The area's getting a lot more use, particularly I think since we spent a little time cleaning it up. Thank you, Ricky, for the printouts. The Prusa still needs some love on the belt. If anybody who wants to take advantage of that or take the time to fix that up. And then just a reminder, a lot more printing, means a lot more people using build plates, doing stuff like putting glue down, etc. Put a note on the agenda. But please, if you're gonna do that, make sure you go back and wash it before you leave it back out, just so nobody knows it's on there if you don't, and it can cause problems. Talking about outreach meeting, we had a much better turnout in the first one. It's more involvement. We'll have another one in a couple of weeks. Please, please, please try to join if you have any interest in pushing forward and outreach, pushing out and promoting the lab or working through some of the projects that we're going for. Our next month will really be a few more hands. We've tightened up what our priorities are going to be for the next short term, next rest of this year, pretty much, as well as Maker Faire. And if there's any questions, please ask myself. I know John Douglas is in the back, as well as anyone else. If you're not sure, your questions, there's an outreach channel. Just throw it out there. Attend the next one if you can, get an idea of what we're looking at doing, but get your feedback. But really, what we're looking for is people that want to take some of these ideas that we have now and can run with them.
Things like raffles.
Potentially things like raffles.
Yeah.
That's one idea. But also just how to get out in the community and make sure that our Maker Faire table set up. And so there'll have some overlap there. And continue to build our membership up so we can get to stability. And then reminder, just more for everyone here, if we get a chance to, the laser, we still need to purchase a backup belt for the FamiLAB. It's on there because it's kind of a priority. So I want to make sure that gets going and so we can take a lead on that. And as a reminder for the Amazon wish list for all those that don't want to donate money, they're on shopping, you want to find something, there's a link to that as well.
Agenda is work.
The agenda is under, it was actually, I think the announcement got sent out incorrectly. I have to update the link, but it will be posted out there.
To be held up.
FamiLAB. Slash agenda.
Update.
Yes. I didn't take my save when I did it, apparently. So look that line. So Maker Faire. Oh, George, I'm sorry.
Speaking of the FamiLAB, congratulations or thanks to the lights and all the improvements that have been made in there.
Yep. Yeah. Shout out to the person, like, just everybody give him a round of applause. He's walking in right now, right behind the dog. And then there's Kyle. Kyle, thank you. We're saying thank you for the work on the lights for the FamiLAB, specifically as you walked in, it came up. So, but yes, Kyle did the hours to make sure we did all that. And then a lot of that was also the work from everybody during the spring cleaning that we did a couple of months ago. A lot of work done there, as well as in the wood shop, the bathrooms, etc. So, the more we keep the place nicer, the hope, the more inviting it'll be for potential members as well. So it's a priority.
What about Pride? Lab Pride.
There you go too, for sure. For sure. And then Maker Faire. I do want to spend a few minutes on that. We are looking for how we can expand our table to be probably not quite the same size Maker Effects next year, but maybe if we can make it happen. But what can we do to expand our footprint? We already had the toy project that we did last year that we think this year can give us our own dedicated table. Diane, who isn't here today, but from our sewing group, will work with us to take another corner. We're going to have a section for power racing that we can show off some of the stuff they did there. As well, they're going to also be racing, hopefully if everything works plan in the power racing thing. That already gives us, roughly 4 tables, again, our normal table as well.
You take up a whole corner lot? Like
We had
a corner, but like a whole side of the block
Yeah.
this time?
we would to take a whole section, we would need 8 if I remember correctly.
I don't know. Well, half of the section. Get half of the section.
Right now at 4, we'd be at half of, like one half of the section. It's 1, 2, 4.
As a reminder, we do have some major signage for back when we were taking up as big of a section as basically is what Maker FX takes up every year. We had that plus some at some point way back in the day. So we have a huge banner. It's in that big wood container up in the up at the top. I'll show you where it is. But it's basically a big circular banner. So we have a few more of those banners. So, we already had the signage. I know it's kind of a little bit off track, but we already have the signage for all of that. So if we can just get people involved and get a big section, we'll be pretty visible.
Is it use of signs? I'd like to see where that.
I'll show you where that is.
I didn't even know about that extra big one. So that's awesome. So when I talk about ideas for having space, it doesn't have to be thing any those that were able to attend last year, remember You know, one guy had a project where he 3D printed some camera stuff. He had a few things out. Here's a hobby that you're going to make a few things here, or you're joining up to continue that and you remember and you want to show something off. Let us know. We can work with you about grabbing space, show it off. All we'll do is we'll get your own table for, let's just say, Ricky's 3D printed toys, you know, whatever. And we just say yes, but put it with FamiLAB so we can break it out and we'll have take over as much space as possible.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a business or anything official. It could just be, even you said it's 3D printed stuff, like even if you're just showing off that that marble thing,
Yep.
and even just that one thing and how you made it, if that could take up the whole table, that's
Right.
exposure there. So it really doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be major. It just has to be whatever you're working on. If it can take up at least a good portion of the table,
Yeah.
it can be there.
Excellent,
So
excellent.
there's a robot thing happening here. Is that, are you gonna be running that? Okay.
Yeah.
So is that, gonna be big enough to have it?
Well, the difference there, and that's we'll talk about how we can have some overlap a little bit. They'll be competing at Maker Faire during the robotics competitions. So we would be, you know, the host FamiLAB or something like that would be the conversation, but they don't have time to be in our space from what I remember last time. But we could have a little bit of what they did, of course, showing off there to take up. Like we could fill out some of the table with, you know, some of their stuff probably.
So,
Assuming.
back on the
But
real
we'll talk.
estate, that, Diane says she needs a table or two.
Okay.
So like a D block.
Yeah, so more to come. Just wanted to put that out there because got a couple things we know are happening that gets us to start. We really want to see if we can take over again. Ideally, 8 tables, I think, is what it takes to get the full. So we shoot for that. We can manage around it to make that happen.
We have, because I don't know how many of you know the relationship between Maker FX and FamiLAB, but Ian, I believe how to pronounce it. He actually is one of the ones that kind of started FamiLAB, and then he went on and made Maker FX, and then started the whole Maker Foundation and all that. So we have a really good relationship with them. It's just we have to be organized and everything has to be prepared ahead of time in order for them to trust what we're going to do. So if we say we want a huge space, I can almost guarantee you he will get us a huge space if we can lay it out for him ahead of time and say, this is what we're going to do. These are all the people involved and all that kind of stuff. We had a bad experience in the past where we were the ones doing the learn to solder. And then we just stopped. And I think they went 1 year without learning to solder and they said, forget it, we'll handle it. So we don't want that to happen again. We want to make sure whatever happens, it's completely organized and everything. But the relationship is still there. It's still good. It's just, let's keep it trustworthy as well. But yeah, him and the Maker Effect Foundation can hook us up with a good amount of space if we have.
From a timeline perspective, start thinking about it now. We have some stuff we know that's going to happen. I will touch base with them before then. Roughly by July, we want to have a better feel for that. So we'll ask. Their call for makers will open up about then, since we're talking November. So that'll be the final push. But to put that out there now because we've got a lot of momentum from the last one. We want to keep that going, and you know, we're getting close to being able to take over our own city block. Second to that, have our own city block at Maker Faire. That means we'll need a few more volunteers as well. So keep that on your radar. November, first weekend in November is when it's probably going to be. It's not official yet, but I'm pretty sure it's November 4th, 5th, or whatever that weekend is. Close to it. Splitting it. You actually might know because it's FTC, but they announced it yet. Yeah.
They don't typically announce it until it's live closer, but it is either, I believe it's either the first or second weekend. Whatever it was last year, it's pretty much.
No, it's going to be the same one, just whatever.
They try and keep it the same. I think the only time they detour away from it is if there's some major event going on.
Yeah.
Even last year, there was major events going on.
Yeah. If you're not sure, if you look up EDC, it'll be the same weekend. As it always has been. And then second to that, we're talking about the toy project. We had a good, that was very well received. We want to do something like that again. We can stick with making the wood toys and have another batch of people learn how to use CNC, some of the other wood tools to make that happen. Happy to take the lead on that, unless someone else has a different idea to do something different. I think it was something we can easily do. We know how to do it. A second run of maybe a different of a different toy. Instead of doing gators, doing something different, maybe a little more complex. I'm with that, but I want a quick, for those that are in the room, show of hands. You want to stick with that, or you want to give it one more month to have another idea before we go with it?
I say,
Should we do popular?
I say to people that want to focus on Maker Faire and kind of like really make that event, because it is our pinnacle event for the year. It is our showcase event. The folks that want to pour a little bit of energy into that, not much, just a little, then get their heads together and settle out what they want to do.
Okay.
I like the alligator.
Yeah.
But there was a bunch of ideas in that book.
Yeah, in the book, sitting on the bookshelf
Yeah.
right there. If anyone wants to flip through it, just think about minimal to middle complexity. Some of them are a little more. And if you really like one and talk through how we would make it, we have to make a batch of them. So there's some things that seem easy for a one-off, but when you start trying to make them in bulk, it starts to be a little more
I
complicated.
mean, I like the alligator for something like that. It wasn't too complex for the kids to put together.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, we really loved that.
Yeah, it was very, very well received. I think our biggest, not hurdle, but our biggest, I guess, hurdle, was just that we had like one setup, one person helping the kid through it. So it's not like, which was kind of good because we didn't make a ton of them. But if we were to make a ton, think of it like the learn the solder thing. We could have a huge section where multiple people are working on it at a time, and kids are going through it at a time. So that's what I would like to see, but that would require a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we just had, like, if we got a full section and we had one table dedicated to assembly, like, even if we had multiple projects, which I think would be kind of cool, like if we had the alligator, for example, I think it would be cool to print out a bunch of dummy 13s and pre-assemble them to the degree we need to, so that the kids can just pop on the arms and stuff.
Nobody told
Yes.
Then we can put our logo on the dummy 13.
Yeah, put our logos on the dummy 13. That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
No, it came up at outreach is what we talked about.
Yeah.
That one, but yeah. So yeah, that's another option. Okay, so
We're gonna have to bring
next outreach meeting, anyone who's interested in talking about Maker Faire, join that one. We'll probably do a spin-off after that, but that's already on the calendar. So anybody who wants to have that conversation, please join us at outreach. Or shoot a note if you can't make it because of conflicts, but we want to have that
There's
conversation.
the outreach channel, or the Maker Faire channel as well.
Yeah.
And the outreach channel.
Yeah, we'll split it off, but like, that call's already in the calendar. Let's use that one.
So we've got an in-person meeting here, and then it's also a hybrid, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Because a couple months ago, I had to pipe in because I was out of town, and I called in, and it didn't last long. I think it was productive, and then this last time you were out of town.
Yeah.
And you piped in.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, we try and keep the outreach and the Maker Faire, the event ones, remote like that, so that anybody can join in, because just having them here, it's nice to have everybody here and see them here, but people are busy, they're out of town, or just, they live an hour and a half.
Some people make personal choices to move an hour and a half away.
Not Adam?
Yeah.
I don't know. What you're
Great.
talking about.
Cool.
I brought
And
this.
great. So our next, that's awesome. Thank you all. Again, look at the calendar. We'll make sure it's out there, and we'll do reminders a week before for the outreach, but please join if you can. And then next on the agenda, I put as FTC Robotics. Could not remember it was Gamma Rays at the time.
So I got the shirt on here.
Sandra with Gamma Rays. For a little bit of background, there's a lot of new people. So we just mentioned at Maker Faire, there's a robotics group. Sandra reached out to us last year about maybe utilizing the space more for her students and her kids to work on the robotics competitions. They went through, this is your first season?
This is our second. We just finished.
So they just finished their second season. Now they know what they need and what we can help them with. But she's going to fill us in a little bit more about what they're kind of looking for, because what we would like to do, and this is when we talked, is have the members that have skills that can help teach the kids how to work on what they're doing and help get them along with their projects. They just finished up the last season. They don't know what the next one is, but now it's time to build up the skills so that next time when they get their next challenge for next season, they can hit the ground running. And after that, I'll turn it over to Sandra for a quick overview.
Okay. Well, thank you. I wasn't really prepared for a speech.
No, just give just a little more detail about what some of the skills and what the robots kind of need to do, just to give everybody who may not have an option but hasn't seen it.
And what you would need.
And yeah.
So yeah, so Gamma Rays is our team. It's a first tech challenge team. If you're not familiar with FIRST is a worldwide organization. They start with robotics at the elementary school level, that's Lego robotics. And then when the kids kind of age out, they go to the tech team level, which is our team's level. And the robots are, they're about the size of a little small cooler. And then ours is 18 by 18 cube that I can fit. And then there's the FIRST robotics competition, which is the big giant, over 100-pound robot. If you want to see some really cool action next weekend, check it out at UCF Arena. They're going to have the whole arena taken over. It's open to the public. You can check out that competition. That's the regional competition for Orlando. So you can go in and check it out on Saturday.
Are you guys gonna be there?
Our team will be there just doing like a demo, like out in the front lobby area, because we're just, trying to get other people involved as people come in.
Yeah.
So we'll just be there kind of doing the demo in the lobby.
Are you from like a particular school or something?
No, so I'm a homeschooling mom. How I got started with it is most of the teams are at school. That's the thing. And like we just went to the state competition for the tech challenge, and things like the places like the Orlando Science School show up with like 7 teams, and they just like absolutely dominate, because they've got a lot of expertise. They've got full-time teachers that know how to do this. They've got after-school clubs. They've got resources. They've got connections to the community. And my kids were homeschooling at the time, so we wanted to have this opportunity for my kids. I've got 3 boys who are extremely like aligned with all the stuff you guys do. They're taking over computers, they're fiddling with things, they're 3D printing stuff, and they love robots. So we just started our team ourselves in our living room. So our robot field is like out on our back porch. So that's kind of life we're living right now. So yeah, so we're looking for, just to connect with people who can help us out. I don't have a tech background. We all tinker in our family. We're a family of tinkerers, if you will. But we're building our skills. We got a couple other homeschooling families that were with us. And some other schools, other kids are at other schools too. So we've got public schoolers, private schoolers, homeschoolers, people who otherwise don't have a chance, kids who otherwise don't have a chance because they're not at a school that has a team. Like I said, we're just meeting at our house. We pulled together, like emptied out a closet, we put our stuff there, we've got our home tools. And then, we just kind of did what we could. And we did pretty good. The kids did great. Again, it's pretty intimidating showing up to a competition when you've got these really high-end teams. But they learned a lot. But at this point, I think their skills have they've gotten to the point where they saw, like, okay, we've done what we could. The way they competed was they effectively bought the kit and assembled it, right? Kind of like a Erector set. They kind of assembled the kit. But then these really high competitive teams are coming in and they're 3D printing parts, they're cutting metal, they're CADing out their designs. And our team is kind of ready to take it to the next level. They want to grow those skills. So that's why we kind of ended up here. I actually started here, and my family just joined FamiLAB in August of last year. But then we just got so busy with the season, we really weren't able to plug in. So thanks for inviting me here just to kind of plug in a little more. We'd like to get more involved. Maybe over the summer, a couple of things I'd love to see the team do over the summer is grow in their CAD design skills, because that's what they keep saying they want to do. They know these other teams are CADing the robots. 3D printing skills, they already do a little bit of that, but they'd really like to grow that and really design that robot. And they haven't got to the point where they're cutting stuff out, but a lot of the other robots that we see, the other teams, is they're like designing the robot in CAD and then cutting out the wood pieces for like the size that they can attach things to. So they're really custom made. So I'd love to, we talked a little bit about maybe making a little project for the kids where they like design a box or something simple and then print it out or cut it out and put it together, and they've learned that skill. And then what's going to happen is in the beginning of the next school year, around August, the Tech Challenge game for the season will release, and they'll announce what the competition is going to look like. And that's when they've got to really start getting to work of figuring out how do we design a robot to do this challenge. Effectively the robot's got to go around on a little course and complete tasks, and they've got to redesign the robot every year to do that challenge. Last year was like a pick and place. They had to pick up little cubes and put them in a basket. This year it was launching balls. So next year we don't know what it's going to be. So that's kind of where we're at. Is over the summer I'd like to do those skills. Yeah, launching cubes, something. We're guessing it's going to be, they call it pick and place versus launch. It's kind of the two. So we're guessing it's going to be another pick something up and put it somewhere. I was thinking over the summer what I might do is have them just redesign a robot just to do that, just to see if they can do something. But anyway, we're looking for ideas. We're also just looking for ideas to connect to the community, to do fundraising in our community, within the community, do things like make t-shirts. They want to have a team where they go out and kind of have a presence and have a little bit of a team spirit. And then recruit, in order to recruit new members. We'd like to keep this going. I love the fact that I can give this opportunity for kiddos who otherwise don't have it at their schools. Like I said, maybe we won't be able to compete with this Orlando Science School, but like to be able to be competitive at least. So
Okay.
that's my spiel.
Perfect. So some of the things that we talked about at the beginning, is particularly to go through summer, getting ready for next fall, is CAD. So I'll talk if anybody wants to take up the hammer of the Fusion 360 Hangout, if that's the choice, or if there's a different one that your group decides on. We'll see if anybody's got a specialist, has a background there. Learning how to use the CNC in the wood shop and the laser so they can take these designs and use it. For those of you that have seen it, one of the examples was the MakerBot that's on the wall just as decor at this point, because it's such an old MakerBot, old 3D printer. But that kind of wood paneling to make this the shape of their robots is something that they know they saw before and could potentially do. So we want to make sure that they're able to make some of those adjustments. And then from there, we'll see what we get up to. But those main tools, as well as just the basic wood shop stuff, is probably where we'll start with. So
soon we'll be able to cut plate, metal plate.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, we're gonna make it's not BattleBots though. Remember, it's functional. We don't need to make shields, but
Well,
That's one thing I think is really cool about it. Is,
we're gonna bring our A game.
I mean, if we take the other ones out of the process,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was just
That's a
roll
diff-
over.
that's a diff-
Sabotage.
It was a very defensive game this season. It was very defensive game this season.
I mean, for all we know, it's
They're
gonna
bumping
it'll
into
be
each
hockey
other.
next year. We don't know. So, but go ahead.
I was just gonna say that was one of the things I like about it so much is that they're learning. I mean, the BattleBots thing is neat and all, but I feel like there's more skills applied to when you're getting a robot to do an actual task as opposed to just sort of a hammer, a blade run really fast,
Okay.
things
I'm
like
gonna
that.
hire the kids to make me a robot bartender that I want to make.
That could be a converting skill.
So I'm excited.
The BattleBots are remote control. These are self done.
It's both. It's autonomous. There's both portions.
Okay.
So what's the next step in that process? I mean, we have a committee on robots, or do we just have that randomly?
Well,
George, I second that. I think we should have a committee on that, to be honest with you.
Okay. We just work on that on the side. We do a committee. My thoughts were talk through we need the things that they want for classes are things that everyone in this lab has asked about at different times. So it's more of getting those. It's not necessarily going to be specific. My goal is not to make it specific to gamma rays. It's to help gamma rays get us stuff on the calendar. If that makes sense. If we can work through that, help us motivate ourselves to get stuff going. But it's open to everyone as we work through the trainings, but not just the things. But
We'll need to meet. We'll need to meet periodically and keep them synced up and then help you guys, facilitate you guys doing events here. Because then that will draw in people with those specialties that are here that might be in the woodwork and say, I want to do that. I'm ready to help. You know what I mean? So I hit you up on Slack. I think you're at Sandra, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then we did talk about making a gamma rays channel specifically for them and whoever else she wants to get there. They want to encourage. They probably won't have all the kids on there, but
No.
their parents as well as.
Yeah, I was
everybody
thinking
will
of
have
maybe
to
making
communicate.
the image to be like our team logo, just so you can kind of see.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're on it.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much.
No, and we're looking forward to helping you. It's the more questions you ask on Slack, the better. Just
Okay.
that's the only thing. That's how get that going. The more communication, and of course, we have means point of contact with John and there'll be others as you work through this process.
Yeah, it looks like we also have a combat robotics channel that has been archived a while back.
Yeah, that's a different one.
Yeah.
Don't bring that back.
Do not take over that.
Again, it's not battle.
That was
you get a whole different set of people.
Yes,
I
that is adult BattleBots versus that. To put things in just the differential. Not that we can't bring combat back. If anybody wants to do BattleBots on the side, I'm not saying we're not doing that. I want to be clear. It's just that these are different. These are different. That's all. I want to open up for discussion before we head over into the talk about board. Just want to make sure we go around the room. If anybody wants to bring anything up, and go from there.
Yeah, I'd like to bring something up. Slack channels.
Okay.
There's a lot, and they've been pared down and all that kind of stuff. But there is a way that Slack you can auto remove, I think, from channels that you're not active in. Like it will monitor that and say, do you still want to be part of this channel? There's a ton of channels in there that don't come in by default, so you can search for them. And also, there's a way to sort them so that your most recent activity floats to the top. So you don't have to go looking through a long list of stuff to see what's been happening. There's also, last thing, I won't keep going on this, but there's, at least on the Android app, there's a catch-up feature at the top, so you can see what has hit your feed and go through it real quick. So if you have more questions about that, see me afterwards.
Yeah, I encourage you to do so, because ever since we kind of started pushing the lab to be a little bit more active with its members and everything over the past couple of years, is that Slack has been our #1 communication. We tried to do email for like newsletter and things like that. It just seems like people are more responsive through Slack, and it's better, in my experience, to have one main place where all information flows so that they're not looking all around. So if you're not familiar with Slack or have trouble with Slack, I highly recommend you talk to others, or maybe just do some research online or something like that, because Slack is a very good tool to use for communication, and it's pretty much the only way we're doing communication with the lab right now. There is, like I said, there is a newsletter going out and everything there too, but that's not going to get you like daily updates, announcements, things like events going on.
Yep.
That's not always going to be in the newsletter. Newsletter's more of like emotional type stuff. So just keep that in mind. So take him up on his offer if you're struggling with Slack at all, because it's basically the main way to go for communication.
I will mention the newsletter here in a second. Kyle, you mentioned Slackbot. Do you have anything to say on that?
Slackbot is the built-in Slack tool for managing certain features outside of your program. Like Slackbot is what will ask you, hey, you have 50 channels for a bit, you want to keep that. Pay attention to Slackbot.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything need to be done to get Slackbot? There's some settings to ask you to remind you about inactive channels.
Is that just like in user settings?
I believe so.
Individual user settings?
You have it on my.
Because I haven't messed with Slackbot much.
Yeah.
That would be great.
At some point.
I have
There's a
like,
channel called What Is This Slack? Things have been asked in there in the past.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have like a partial write-up that I made for like my employees, because we use Slack at work. So it's just a real basic like kind of intro to Slack, but I can expand that and make it available.
That'd be great, and if so, upload it and pin it to what is a Slack. That's a good way like to tell people where to go there and to teach them pins really fast and then go there for that.
Yeah.
Because pins are definitely another feature that we don't get used.
They used to be used a lot in the past. Depends for, like Kyle has pointed out to me quite a few times, because I always forget about the pins. And I'm looking for information, and it's pinned to a room I'm asking about. So
Yeah, I mean, you can set up, I don't know if Slackbot can do it, but you can certainly add a bot to Slack that can, like you can pre-program it to recognize common questions, frequently asked questions. And then if somebody asks it, the bot can be like, oh yeah, it looks like you're asking about such and such. That information can be found here. I have that set up in my work too.
Okay.
For like keywords and phrases and stuff.
we are on the free version still, though. So
I think it's pro.
Not a pro.
Yeah. Last time I checked, which was a couple days ago,
Whoa.
we're on a pro plan.
Are we paying?
You don't have to pay for a
there's
pro
still some kind of limitations. So maybe
plan. There
that's
are,
okay.
but it's a pro
Okay.
plan.
Okay.
Okay. That's good. All right. So
So
we learned something new every
We
day.
don't have certain DLP and other features and the ability to export and do this and that. We have to go through support.
Well, like
for certain
admins
things.
can't view, not to get off track, but admins can't view hidden channels or can't
Correct.
search for hidden
That's enterprise only.
enterprise. Okay, that's where I'm
That's
confused.
what I'm
Never
getting
mind.
at. Certain
Okay.
things
That's
we
why I
have to
thought
go
we were
through
on a
support
free
for.
version.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
yes, we have.
I think of pro and enterprise the same thing in my head. So I would be.
Oh, three.
So, all right. Fair enough.
Sorry,
I was gonna say, continuing on off the Slack. Anything else around the room?
newsletter. There's printed copies. The March one is supposed to come out. I get it when I have time, or I do it when I have time. There's a process to it. It's gotten pretty streamlined to produce. A 1 or 2 page thing only takes about an hour, maybe 2. And right now my average is about every 6 weeks. It's not the go-to, but it is a nice refrigerator thing. But your notices for events and such will come through Slack. Pay attention to that.
Kristen posts an announcement like every week, tells you what's going on.
I'm glad you said that. I've been meaning to write it.
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah,
them
that's good.
Yeah. And that goes through announcements, right, in general?
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that one because it'll remind you what's happening in the space or online for that upcoming week. And just it's a good plug for the calendar. At the end of the day, is on our website. That calendar is kind of like the last like where to go for anything else that's coming up.
Make sure if you're going to have an event, add it to the calendar. If you don't know how, reach out. It's really easy. There's a form on the website. You fill out, goes directly on the calendar. So
Events and classes channel.
there you go. The events and classes channel as well. So, make sure you're putting stuff on the calendar because that's our visual thing. Again, looking at it from the business side and getting people in, we want things on the calendar. So if you're doing an event and you think, oh, I'm just going to show up next week and do something, maybe just throw it on the calendar, say, hey, I'm going to be there if anybody wants to watch.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good lead in for classes as well. Actually, it wasn't on the agenda, but for an example, coming up first week of April, I'm going to do a woodworking hangout. I don't have a project. I don't have a agenda for that one. I've done woodworking classes in the past. I just wanted to get it back on the calendar, get people that are interested in woodworking to come to the lab at the same time. We can talk to the machines, probably work on something together if you've got something. But those kind of things, if you're coming to do a project that you're learning on, throw it on there and say it's a hangout or a learn with me. I'm going to figure it out together, but happy to have anyone who's interested to come along for the ride. That's those kind of, not everything needs to be a formal class with a syllabus and like we're going to make this thing at the end of the class. It's just more about knowing that there's going to be somebody who's interested in the same thing you are at a certain time isn't very important as well. So you can learn from each other.
With that said, though, there is the opportunity to reserve rooms in the lab if you want to do a class. And FamiLAB in the past has required a certain percentage of whatever you charge. We don't do that anymore. Right now, we're just saying, if you want to hold a class here, say you want to do Fusion 360 class, you want to teach people, and say you want to charge a premium, $100 a head, whatever, do it. Put it on the calendar. Let us know. We'll help you get set up an Eventbrite where you can even sell tickets in there. So there's a lot that we can do with this lab. Just keep that in mind.
I see John's brain working over there for a second. So.
Something just happened in the general thread, and I'm wondering what. Never mind. So sorry.
All right.
I'm distracted.
No. Anyway.
I'm not going to look. Moving along. George.
I just wanted to say that being the annual meeting, Alexander and I have been members for many years. I think it was about half as tall as he is now. And we were away for a while and came back about a year ago.
Yep.
And really want to thank Adam.
Yeah.
to what they kept the movement going and made a lot of improvements and a lot of attitude. It's very good and the place is looking better. So
Great.
You're here.
good job, guys.
Thank you, George. And yes, thank you to Adam.
I just joined about 6 months ago, and having talked with a bunch of people and tried to find out history and how things are done and such, I can tell that you have carried a giant weight on your shoulders. Thank you for
A
what
lot
you
of
have done.
Thank you. Yeah, I have something written up if I want to talk later after we get through the board stuff, but I appreciate you guys thanking me, but it's really not just on me. There's a handful of people, especially now John, Kyle doing a bunch of stuff around here, Mike also doing stuff. Those guys were essential in the move and have been essential moving forward. So everybody that's been putting a lot of work in, I know sometimes it just kind of takes somebody to kind of push people along, but it's really gotten to a point where I don't need to push people along anymore. You guys are doing an amazing job. The lab's just getting back to how it was when I joined. So I appreciate that as well. Thank you to everybody that's been helping out. Everybody that shows up to these meetings. I mean, I know this is the annual meeting, but seeing the lab full like this is it's pretty awesome. So.
Okay, John, tear up. Look.
Doing it right now.
He's doing a picture.
Oh.
Is that Chris in the back?
It is.
Back there.
Bam.
All right.
The other direction also.
Um,
Go back.
Do you guys have anything else? Anybody else have anything they want to go over or talk about, or questions about what's coming in the new year? Or
Well, I feel like I've been slacking.
you have,
But-
it's
but-
okay.
That's true. But the main reason is my car hasn't been working. And I can't afford to hire a mechanic to fix it properly, and I have PTSD, so I'm really triggered by fixing it up. But I'll probably have it ready and fixed within the next month, at the latest. And once I get my car running, I'm going to come back and dedicate more of my time to the lab.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
And if you need help with it, I mean, I wish I could help with it. I don't have time anymore, but I mean, we got a plethora of tools back there and a lot of knowledge. So maybe bringing it in, somebody could help.
I'd have to bring it in on a
Yeah, you probably got to tow it in, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe somebody's got a tow truck. I mean,
No,
you've got a
no.
massive van.
I think, I mean, we got, yeah. Chris has a truck that you could almost drive your car into. If it wasn't a giant, generator, that's the word, that's a converter. Great.
While John is talking, every Friday night, just in case you don't know, is
Oh, yeah.
anime night. John's been putting that on. John #1.
This John.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't say you've been slacking when you have a weekly event.
That's
I mean,
true.
That's more
That's
than
true.
a lot of people are doing.
Yeah.
So don't even worry about it.
Okay,
for sure, for sure.
Friday.
Anyone else? Anything else?
When can we eat?
We're almost there. We're almost there.
You wanted to eat before the meeting.
So somebody should just give him a plate.
Right?
Before we move on to board, there's a couple new faces in there. I want to chance anybody wants to stand up and introduce themselves. If not, don't feel the need, just wave and say hi, and we'll move on.
No, you gotta stand up. You gotta come in here and
Yeah.
talk and.
It's like Fight Club, the first rule of Fight.
All right.
First rule of FamiLAB is you have to talk about it.
No. Yeah, you have to talk about that. We should make that. Okay. All right, now we're at the end of. After that, we are at a new board. So I will give Adam the closing remarks today because he will be stepping away from board. But with that, we need to create a new one. I am going to start out. I will stand up for board again. This will be the start of my second term. So that means I can do another 2 years, and then I need to step away. Just putting that out there now, so I can't do a third term. So we'll need people, if they don't want to do it this time, might want to consider stepping up in the next round.
Now, hold on, now, is that consecutive? That's 2 consecutive terms. If you skip a term, could you come back later?
I believe, yeah, I believe
Yes,
so.
and we play loose with those rules. It is in our bylaws and it is something that we should abide by, but in the end, it's whoever's gonna help take care of the lab. I don't see any reason. I mean, again, I'm not gonna be around much longer, but I don't see a reason for people to complain if somebody continues on. For instance, during the COVID thing, granted it was during COVID, there was a big problem. By the time myself and the board that is current took over, those guys should have been turned out a couple years before. They were way past all their terms. They were just there to help keep the doors open. So I really hope it doesn't get that way again because that causes a lot of burnout. That was the whole reason of putting in the 2-term thing, is that people were sticking around too long and they were getting burned out. So it was kind of giving them an excuse to say, hey, I have to go according to the bylaws, so we need somebody to jump in.
Yeah.
It's just doesn't always work well that way. So my personal opinion is if somebody wants to continue on, maybe just let them continue on until at least somebody else can step up and take on. But again, anybody who's on board, do not get burned out because the lab's an amazing place. I've seen a lot of really good people come in here and do some really cool stuff, have a lot of really cool events going on, and then they jump on board to try and help save it. And now they're no longer around because they're some of them are pretty jaded by things that had happened and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to get that way. This great community, don't get burned out. So, and with, again though, and going back to what I said about all the help that we've been getting around here, I would say a good 90% of what the board has done in the past is actually can be done by like an ops team or the membership, because again, it's member run, right? Board's really there to pay the bills, keep the lights on, make sure legality stuff is handled properly, things like that. They're not really there for every little thing. And that's where the burnout happened, is that they were doing way too much, trying to take everything on. And with all you guys jumping in and doing extra work, that just takes a load off the board anyway. So Even if you don't want to be on board, just helping out like that, it really, you don't understand how much that actually helps the board.
I mean, candidly, that's more important than board, other than the fact that we need to have a board to be illegal, like, for, like, nonprofits. Like, if everyone's doing their parts, board honestly is signing, doing taxes. Really, it's the treasurer has to do taxes and the president has to be on paperwork. Other than that, it should be.
Being on the bank account.
Yeah.
Most bills are automatic anyway,
Yeah.
so I mean,
It's
it's
not.
really, board's not, in the past, board, I remember when I kind of first joined there was a joke going around that if you want to quit and hate the lab, you join board for a while. And honestly, that's not my experience anymore. Again, when I first kind of took over, things were a little bit more chaotic, and I'm sure all you saw during the move, I was pretty stressed.
That's why you got the broken bubble word.
Yes. But the now it's a lot more laid back to the point of me actually stepping back is kind of silly. It's just I'm just sort of which we'll get to in a minute. But board is really what I'm trying to get at is board is not, it's not hard. It's not a lot of work. It's just being there and being able to respond when something comes up. Even if you're not around, we had Johan for a long time on the board. He's in Chicago, but he was extremely helpful because when we had issues come up or whatever, and we talked about it in board, he was still able to respond. That's really what needs to be done. So, yeah. Anyway, board isn't that hard anymore. So just keep that in mind.
I remember when I showed up to Maker Effects and asked you what I could do to help out. I asked you if you'll stay around for a little while longer, and you did. So thank you for that.
Okay. I thought you were going to continue that.
No. But in doing that, I started studying all the stuff that needs to be done or should be done. A lot of stuff that gets automatically done because there's some great people around here that do things without being asked, and they do a great job at it. But the things that aren't being done right now, it doesn't seem like it takes very much time to get those things done. So even if someone doesn't want to be on the board, those things that could be done by operations, that 90% of effort that you're talking about, even that a volunteer might only need to do, if they volunteer for it and want to commit to doing that, an hour a month.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or less. I mean, think about the AC filters. There's 3 filters that need to be replaced once a month. And I mean, that might take you maybe a half hour once you know what you're doing, know where they are, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that one's kind of a pain, but I could show you guys a trick on that. But yeah, I mean, there's even just that. Just getting that done is essential because that's something we're responsible for the building. If we don't do it, AC breaks because of it. Now we're responsible for the repair. So yeah, simple. There's very simple things. Even if you just do one thing a month, or spend 10, 20 minutes a month, it's extremely helpful because now that's something that the board doesn't necessarily have to track. Maybe they'll ask once in a while, hey, when was the last time it was done? But they don't have to have that on a calendar. They don't have to have somebody coming out and doing it. They don't have to, be aware of when it's done and all that kind of stuff.
So I'll quit talking after this, but
I don't believe it.
I promise. Jeff can shoot me, and then I'll be quiet. The having studied all that stuff, made a document this last week. Did it on Monday, finally. And there's not that many things that need to be done, and I've got them documented now. And like, if someone wanted to volunteer, there's some very clear, definite things that can and should be done. And if those are done, then this lab will sing in a healthy way. It will just self-propagate. Anyway, that documentation will be coming out after elections. If you're interested in that, please see me.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill.
I'll say one more thing, and then you can firing squad, I promise. It's not rules, it's not mandates, it's not obligatory. It's to help offset the inventive side of FamiLAB, the spark side. It's to put just a little bit of order to make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and to keep it right there in the center.
The FamiLAB member run aspect wasn't a lazy thing for us to be like, well, we don't want a bunch of business people running it. We don't want to have to bother with that. We want to make stuff. It's because that forms the community together. So just keep that in mind. You're here and something needs done, hit up John, or if he's got that documentation somewhere, maybe look through it and say, well, it looks like the filters need to be replaced, I'll do that. Or maybe, the floor needs to be swept, just take a look around. The floor needs to be swept, so we do things like that. Those things are critical because, like I said, it really relieves it from the board and the people responsible, because when board comes in here and it's a mess, they start cleaning up before they can do anything else that they actually need to get.
Well, and then on top of it, if you want to make something, it has to be first before you didn't clean it up. That's the downward spiral.
Yeah.
Right? We've been really great about it for the last few months. A few people have done extra work for it. Awesome. Start counting on Jeff. One of our guys did a really good job cleaning up the wood shop. He's working on reorganizing stuff today. As soon as we're done talking, he's gonna go back to work. But he's on. But
So stop talking.
exactly. So but yeah, it goes back to things. Yeah. So with that, we've talked to a handful of people that I know are talking about being on board, but again, until today, it's not official. So those that are talking about being on board and you still want to do it, please raise your hand and we'll make sure we still have a count. So John D, Jack, George, Chris. 4, 5, 6. So that is 6. That means by default, we are the board.
So basically, just to give you guys some background, I don't know if everybody knows about it. The way the bylaws go is that we're supposed to vote, and it's suggested that we have at least 7 members. The way we've been doing it in the past, again, we're playing loose with the rules. So if anybody objects, before I continue, if anybody objects, you have the ability to object. You have the ability through the bylaws to say this isn't right. We should actually have a vote and all this stuff. Go to the board will respect that and will continue. We're doing it fast and loose because that's just kind of what needs to be done right now, and that's what we see the membership wants to happen. If there's an objection, then we know that that's not what the membership wants and we'll shift focus. But anyway, point is, since there's not 7 people, more than 7 people, there's not really any reason to vote, right? I mean, part of the way the voting worked before, it was kind of pretty complicated. You actually vote on who you want on board the most, and the person that gets all of those votes becomes the president. That's what gives your title. So it was very strange. I think honestly that the bylaws need to be a little bit reworked because of this, but I digress. The point is that because we don't have 7 members, we're just kind of going with whoever's saying that they will do it, they're going to jump on and do it. They're going to be the board. And then the board is going to decide later, say we all jump on, myself included, and I'm absent for the next 5 meetings, the board's going to vote me off because I wasn't really dedicated, like I said. So just keep that in mind. The board will kind of maintain itself as well, but don't ever feel like the board is controlling the membership, because the membership has all of the control. If you actually read through the bylaws and everything, not that everybody absolutely needs to, just understand that you do have the control. And if you have a complaint, don't be afraid to just speak up, even if that means a private message to one of the board members, because that is critical. We don't want to lose members because they're upset and a bunch of people are upset and we just don't know, right? So nobody's going to be offended. I mean, as long as you're polite about it, if you're like, hey, you gotta watch out for it. It's probably not the best way to go about it, but point is, membership has all the control. So the way we're doing this, everybody that just raised their hands, you're on board. Congratulations, thank you. We'll move forward with that, but that's why we're doing it that way. Yes, is what I'm going on.
Question.
Yeah.
Yep.
We just say there's 6 people on board.
Mhm.
So how will the board resolve it? I vote on the issue.
We've never had to
Most
vote on
boards have
that.
odd number of people.
That's why 7 is the
Right.
ideal
That's
number.
why 7 is the ideal number.
Should we vote down to
Hold on
5?
now, hold on now. Bylaws say that there is a minimum of 3. It can be a maximum of 7. A president, a secretary, a treasurer. Those are really the only 3 names. The other 4 are directors at large. It doesn't necessarily say anything about needing to have an odd number. If that needs to be a requirement, let's bake that into the bylaws, but right now it's not a requirement.
Yeah, it's so the legal requirement is the 3, the suggestion in the bylaws is 7. But there's also, I think there's also a suggestion there for it to be odd. So
Yeah.
yes, there is 6 right now. The board will resolve that in some way, even if it's, okay, we're at a tie right now, we're gonna take a break, go over a little bit more, and then revote.
We
next
could always
week or
take it to
something
the
like that.
membership. So.
And yeah, and then the membership can always resolve ties as well. So I don't think, because there hasn't been major issues like that in the past, I don't think it's a problem, but that is a very good point to bring up. And I think that's just kind of something the board will work through. There is also interim board members where if somebody later on, we only vote once a year for the board. But if, say, in 3 months you say, hey, I'd like to join the board and help out a little bit more, reach out. They can put you into the board as, I forget what the actual term for it is, but basically you're adopted into the board at that point, kind of like you're sponsored into the board, and you'll carry out to the end of that year. That doesn't count towards your term either, in case you want to join in the next one. So there are ways to add or get rid of people as well. So
But yeah, that is in 2.5-ish years, at least I know of, there's never been a vote that was even anything of substance. If we get to it, again, we'll try to deal with it internally if we need to, though. Really, at this point, the tiebreaker would be the next member meeting and bringing it up to a vote. If it really got it.
I nominate Grok as our 7th.
we had, in my time, we had one special case meeting, and one where we didn't even really have the vote. It was a board member had stepped down. We were actually debating on voting that board member off, and they stepped down before that even happened. So I think that's kind of how the lab is going now. In the past, there was a lot of emotional attachment to the lab because the people had, really started it from the bottom, from the ground up, and they were attached to every little thing. I'm talking tiles on the floor were a topic of like multiple meeting debates for the lab. That's one of the reasons you join the board, you want to leave, is because you're fighting over tiles for 4 hours, 4-hour meetings, 3 months in a row. So just keep that in. I always say keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind, is that it's not really like that anymore. There is emotional attachment to the place, but there's also the idea that like the tiles don't matter as much as the membership coming in and things like that. I say tiles just as an example.
Cool. That was the last official order of business. I will open it up for one last time. Just know that if you bring it up, you're going in the way of food. So I'm going to put that. So it better be important. Otherwise, we have other meetings and you can talk to offline.
Or the plates.
Plates are in the back. Perfect. With that, we're going to close the meeting. Thank you, everyone, again for showing up. Enjoy the food. Fridge is stocked with drinks, nothing alcoholic. If you want that, go get it yourself. And we will talk to you later.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And if you didn't get a chance to, please hit the sign-in sheet, l.familab.org/sign-in.
Everybody there, numbers.
Yep. Cool.